Thank you for joining us in our Women in Leadership series. As a Beyond Recruitment business, we've found that there's a lot of discussion at the moment around women not being in leadership roles, women not serving on boards, and women not serving on executive tables. We've actually found that there are so many stories to share, so many women that have done well in leadership, and so many organisations that are running fantastic programs to help women grow in their leadership roles, and we'd like to take you on this journey with them. Thank you for joining us.
Hi Carmen, thanks for coming along. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I was born in Canada and moved here when I was 10 with my family. Grew up and went to Victoria University here in Wellington, where I studied 2 degrees. I did a Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing and Management and a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And then I went on to do my honours degree in marketing, where I did my thesis on relationship marketing online. So that was sort of my first foray into getting into technology. When I left university, I was the first graduate to become a consultant at KPMG, and I worked there for several years until I went to the UK in 2003 and came back from the UK nearly 7 years later. While I was in the UK, I did a combination of consulting and got into program management with a couple of insurance companies over there, which kind of got me into managing large IT programs and into the insurance market. And when we moved back in 2009, I joined Cigna, and that's where I am now as CIO.
Do you find that it's been easier to progress into more senior positions now than when it was when you first started your career?
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I guess, what contributes to that, I think it comes down to a personal capability, because as you mature in your career development, you also mature in your capability to establish relationships and work with people, and you kind of move from being what I would call a people manager into being a leader, and it's sort of that transition that starts to ensure that you stand out differently from other people. And that's probably been the biggest journey I've been on, particularly since I've been in my CIO role. I very much, I guess, pulled more on my psychology background than I have on my management and marketing background, so that there's definitely been quite a big shift, and also less about having to prove myself and my capability, because most of my career has been about doing that, and now it's about empowering others and really learning how to be the coach, to be the leader, and to build a team that is capable themselves and empowered themselves. And that's sort of been quite a big transition for me personally. And the more I focused on the coaching, the better my team has become, and the more motivated and high performing they're becoming as well.
And have you ever experienced any workplace discrimination over your career?
Fortunately, no, I haven't. You get the odd comment, particularly in the UK. I worked for a German company, and there are a few slightly chauvinistic comments. But I think the key thing for me is about being very ruthless with standards, and I very much treat people the way I expect to be treated. And if people do ever treat me in a way that doesn't meet those expectations, I very much let it be known at that point in time what those expectations are. So again, it's less about gender and more about making sure in those relationships people know where they stand. And if someone's crossed the line for me personally, then I make sure that conversation is had in a timely manner.
What's your biggest or proudest achievement over your career?
At the moment, we've been on a really big journey at Cigna, a really big sort of digital journey, and I'd say it's probably at this point very, very proud, because I think that's taken me from being a people manager to a mentor and coach. So as we've kind of gone down our transformation journey, I've been really working with the team to roll out Agile across the organization as a methodology. And that's not just within IT, that's across the entire organization. So we're doing it from exec level down. And that's been about 2 years, but we're seeing some really, really good progress in that. and starting to really use that sort of coaching and methodology of Agile about empowerment, accountability, responsibility. So really learning how to push decision making throughout the team and being the coach that people know they can come to as an escalation point, but really empowering them. And we're starting to make some really good progress at a technology level in terms of some of the technologies we're building and delivering, very leading edge globally, so very exciting. So very proud to have been able to sponsor that.
Fantastic. It sounds like your journey as a woman leader has been quite been quite smooth, but do you think society does enough to help women in the workplace?
I actually think that question has two facets to it,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say, there are certain areas in society where certainly, there are more opportunities that can be given to women. I think diversity in the workplace and programs, and helping female students getting into particularly technology and other areas. There's growing bodies of activity around there. But the other facet is I actually think there's a lot that women can do themselves to believe in themselves. And interesting comment that we had around just the different mindsets between I think women are very quick to criticize themselves and believe that they can't do something, whereas the opposite is men are very quick to over-promote themselves and jump at something. So I think it's, in recognizing those behaviors, sometimes it's actually being brave enough to step outside your comfort zone and go, actually, I can take a chance on this, and I can tell my story, and I can have those difficult, perhaps courageous conversations to make sure that my voice is heard. And making sure that it's a voice that's heard, not a gender that's heard. And for me, I think that's very important, and perhaps one of the contributing factors to why I've had less feeling of discrimination in my career.
Which women inspire you?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of amazing women out there. I mean, looking at my career, I've had some fantastic female managers who, have helped me along my journey. I think at Cigna, they're 40% of the senior leadership team are women, so there's a lot of diversity, in New Zealand and internationally within Cigna. But then looking outside of the workplace, there's obviously a lot of amazing sports people, but someone that does come to mind, there's an amazing chef called Angela Hartnett. So she's been very, very successful in the UK, working with Gordon Ramsay and Marcus Waring, and have brought both of them Michelin stars. And she was basically said she'd be given a week to succeed, and that was about 15 years ago, and she's now one of the world's best chefs in a male-dominated industry. And I think just, looking outside of the industry I'm in, looking at other women who, again, are focused on their capability and being the best they can be, she's someone that I think, has really shone above and beyond.
What advice do you have for women looking to become leaders or move into leadership?
The most important thing is to believe in yourself. I think have a story that you believe in, and make sure that you're comfortable being able to stand up for that. For me, it's less about gender and more about what you're trying to achieve, and how you work with the people around you to achieve that. And also recognizing that, everybody comes as a leader with what they know, but I think the most important thing as a leader is recognizing what you don't know. And to be a successful leader isn't about standing in front of a crowd and professing everything that you know. It's about actually inspiring the people around you to share in that knowledge journey, and actually being courageous enough to say when you don't know something, and to have that humility and have that relationship with the people around you, because then that's what makes people communally want to work together and drive towards an end goal. And I think as a leader, you need to have that goal. You don't necessarily need to know how you're going to get there, but if people know what the journey is, then they'll understand and they'll commit to that. So I think having that story is a really important part of being a successful leader.
Yeah. And what sort of things do you get up to outside of work?
Well, I guess you could say I'm an avid gym goer. I've been a fitness instructor since I was 22, so that's been a big part of my life. A little bit less so now because I have 4-year-old twin sons. So between family and work and getting to the gym, we do a lot of activities where we take the boys out and try to get into the bush and walk around and just be very active and really introduce them to nature and love of exercise in life. We've also got quite a big extended family, so there's a lot that we do. And we've got 16 adults and 8 children under 7 just in our 2 families, so that keeps us very busy, so very family orientated.
And how do you balance that family and that work life?
It's always hard sometimes. I think, I've got an amazing and very supportive husband, an amazing and supportive family. So, without question, I couldn't have done it without him. I returned to work after 6 months and he took full parental leave and looked after the boys for nearly 5 months. So he's just been amazing support. I think on a personal level, keeping my fitness and my fitness classes and that's my time, my space, and so I think that actually helps me step outside of everything else that's going in life. And because it's something I've done for so long, as I've traveled around the world and as I've done different things, it's always been my kind of go-to safe space, for want of a better word. And it's just, like I often say to my members, when they walk in the room, that's your safe space. You've got 45 minutes, 60 minutes to just clear your mind and focus on your health and fitness and well-being, and that's really important to me for balancing things as well.
Well, on behalf of all of us here at Beyond Recruitment, thank you very much for coming along and sharing your insights and a bit about your background. I'm sure what you've said today will be inspirational to lots of up-and-coming women in leadership. And thank you very much for contributing to the Beyond Recruitment Women in Leadership series.
Thank you for having me, Ben, and thank you to the team here at Beyond. Hopefully my story can add a little bit to the wonderful series that you guys are running. Thank you.